Hello friends, happy Friday. This is Jennifer Sinceri. Let me just get my laptop here on the right page. And that gives you guys a chance to hop on before I get started. Hopefully you'll see a little notification pop up. Where'd it go? There it is. All right. Well, happy weekend, everyone. Happy Memorial Day weekend. It is, May 23rd, 2025. It is Fabulous Friday. And, yep, I am an hour late. But that seems to be my life lately. I just cannot seem to get in a regular routine. So I apologize. But whether or not you're watching the live or the replay here on Facebook or on YouTube, I am so glad that you're here. If you do happen to catch me live, please give me just a little shout out. Let me know that you're there because I would love to say hello to you personally. I always like to see where my followers and viewers are from, so shoot me a comment. Let me know who you are, where you're from. It's always fun and interesting to see where people are. And that's for replay and on YouTube as well. So tonight, I am going to be playing with a online exclusive bundle called Twisted in Time, but I'm also going to use it to make some alternatives with my paper pumpkin kit. All right, but before we get started, just a couple business things. Let me do a little housekeeping. If you do not already follow my page on Facebook or YouTube, you'll want to make sure that you hit that little button that says follow, and that way you will get notifications every time I go live. Also, I really would appreciate that you share this video with your friends because that helps people find me and share the love of paper crafting and inspiration. Also, if you want to join my business email contact list, that is my business email. You can send me a message and say, add me to your list, and you will get all the good things. I try and send out at least one big email, my newsletter, so that you'll see promotions and sales and opportunities and events. I do send out periodically weekly emails just when something is time sensitive and I want you to be aware of that. I try not to flood your email box. All right. I do have an in-person class. So for those of you that don't know where I'm at, I'm located in Elk Grove, California. I'm close to Sacramento. So if you're in my area, I would love for you to join me in a live in-person class. So the next class I'm doing is June 7th. I do one in-person class a month. I am a school teacher by trade, and so I do work full-time, and it's difficult for me to do more than one event, but my events are usually packed. We usually have a full house. I can see 18 ladies, and so I do two sessions. I do a 9 a.m. session and I do a 1 p.m. session. Now, for the June class, my 9 a.m. session is almost full. I have only one spot left, but there are quite a few spots left for the 1 p.m. session. So if you are interested, please let me know. My classes are only $20, which is pretty awesome. And I do have a full coffee bar out, and I usually have sweets, and there's chocolate. So, we got to have chocolate. Hi, Gail. Happy Friday, friend. I also want to let you know that there is a really fun and exciting event coming through Stampin Up, and it's called a virtual album retreat. It's going to be 3 days, and as you can see, you are going to be making 12 two-page layouts. So it's like making a year's worth of page layouts for your scrapbook. Now, the album is not included, but you are getting a jam-pack full of product. It's really exciting. So there's no registration. You would just purchase the item. And there's an item code. If you go to my business page, you'll see a post about this. There is an item code, and you just put that item code in your shopping cart. It is $250, but you are getting 12 2-page layouts. It's a whole year worth of scrapbooking. So also, if you're a demonstrator, you're going to get that with your demonstrator discount. Now, whether you're a demonstrator or a customer, you also are going to get Stampin' Rewards with this. Okay, so that's pretty awesome. Okay, hi Stacy, happy Friday. You'll see that there are some examples of just some of the layouts that they will be doing. All right, and then also I mentioned if you're a demonstrator, you get a discount. There is a promotion right now happening. So normally our starter kit is $99 and you get $125 worth of product. But in May, they have sweetened the deal and there is more value. You're going to get $165 worth of product for only $99, plus free shipping, plus a free paper pumpkin kit. And those kits are $27 plus tax. All right. So this is a really, really good deal. And the beauty of the starter kit is that you get to make it work for you. You can be a happy discount shopper. You can nab the kit, one-time deal, and then turn back into a customer, or you can do what I do. It's totally up to you. If you have questions, please reach out to me. I would love to add you to my team. And then last but not least is Paper Pumpkin, and that is our box subscription. All right, so they are $27, as I mentioned, plus tax. You're going to see tonight everything that you get in a Paper Pumpkin kit. Now, I am using the May kit. These are not available for sale anymore. I do have 5 on my cash and carry table. So if you absolutely fall in love with this kit and you missed out, reach out to me and I will sell you one of those kits. All right. But you're going to get an idea of what you get in a Paper Pumpkin kit, the quality and the quantity. All right. Let's get started. All right. Let me move these. So as I mentioned, I am going to create with this kit, but I'm also using this bundle for some of my alternatives. I am doing alternative designs tonight. Let me show you. The dies have 12 pieces. Everybody needs to have a tree stamp set. I cannot figure. Here's the deal. Whenever I start using my dies, I never can figure out how did they get them all in there. All right. So there are 12 dies. Some of them are bonus dies, and then some of them will cut out the shape. So you're going to see, and the font is backwards. At least it looks like it is for me. This is a really cool piece. Then there's 2 stamps for the foliage. We've got a couple funky little shapes, and then we have sentiments. It says, "A sweet friendship is good for the soul. You make every day special. Thank you for the little things." Then it says Happy Easter, which is kind of funny. I don't look at this as an Easter stamp set. I feel like trees or leaves are a great staple to add into your stamping stash. We can use these for masculine cards, which is what I'm going to be doing tonight, but they can be sympathy cards. There's so many things, get well cards, that we can do with trees or leaves. Okay, now this is the Paper Pumpkin kit. Okay, let me show you. And I know that Gail and Stacy are both Paper Pumpkin subscribers, so they are pros at this. They're actually on my team. You get a full sheet. It's actually bigger. This is a regular sheet of Stampin' Dimensionals. The one that they give you is bigger, so you're actually getting more. You're going to get a stamp set, an exclusive stamp set. All right, these are not available for purchase separately. And then they gave me this sheet that shows me what the stamps are, so you'll be able to see those. We've got You Mean the World to Me, Happy birthday. I love you. Best dad ever. You're the greatest. Happy Father's Day for a wonderful man. And then we've got these birds, okay? So there's that exclusive stamp set. You do get an ink spot, and the color is Misty Moonlight. Now, I have already started to dive into my kit, so you're going to see a bunch of missing pieces. But look at these envelopes. Oh my gosh. It's this wash. So we have 3 blue, 3 petal pink, and 3 Lost Lagoon. Now, automatically, I'm looking at these and going, gosh, these are gorgeous. But what you could do is you could cut these apart and use these as designer series paper if you wanted to add or stretch your kit even more. Hi, Patricia. Thank you for sharing this video. So that's something to think about. I always love the coordinating envelopes, but if you want to stretch out your kit and get the most out of it, you could use our regular white envelopes, right? Our regular white ones, and then cut these apart and use these as paper, okay? So that's a thought. I don't know if that's what I'm going to do with mine yet. I always love pretty envelopes. Okay, we've got a page. Let me move these guys out of the way. We've got a page of white rectangle die cuts for sentiments. You can see I've already punched out a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then these are some dies that go with one of the cards, and you get enough to make three of the cards as they've designed. Now I'm doing alternative designs. Okay, so those just get punched out. We've also got these pieces that are shapes. They're hills, all right, for one of the cards. Okay, those are just dies. Then we've got these guys. This is vellum, colored vellum. This is what's left. I've already punched out some of the pieces. And this is vellum as well. And that seems that I'm missing. I feel like there's another piece of vellum, but I could be wrong. All right, let me show you the card bases as they are. So that's one of the designs. Okay. Oh, here's another one. And then here's the last one. Now, if you are somebody who thinks outside of the box like I do, so these would make beautiful cards, right? But I kind of feel like the back gets wasted, right? So here's my thing that I did tonight. I cut all of my card bases in half. So I am stretching this. So instead of making, I think this makes 9 cards, you get 3 of each design, you can double it, all right? You could get 18 out of this or more, depending on how you cut them up, okay? 2, 4, 6, yeah, you get 18. Okay, let's get started. Now, what I ended up doing, I'm going to start with this one. What I ended up doing was I took that card base and I cut it, all right? And so you're going to get 2, but I actually cut mine down a little bit more because I wanted to add a color mat underneath it, all right? I love layers. I really feel like that helps step up my cards. Let me grab my bone folder. So I pulled a piece of Mossy Meadow for my card base, and then this layer is Lost Lagoon. Okay, and then we're going to add this on top. Now, before I put it down, we're going to stamp our little birds. So let me find those cutie pies. Okay. Stacy, you haven't even opened your kit yet. You know what? I am so far behind on Paper Pumpkin. So when I came home today, I said, what am I going to do for my live? I have no clue what I'm going to do. And I am waiting for my big annual catalog order. I just placed it this week. So I am behind on that. I was kind of waiting to place the order to figure out what I really wanted. So it's kind of hard right now for me to figure out what is still current and what is retired. All right, I think I'm going to use Mossy Meadow for my birds because I want it to coordinate. Now these are vellum pieces, and I'm going to be cutting them off. Let me grab the directions. So this is the part that I'm copying, but I'm trimming, if that makes sense. Okay? And these are going to be on dimensionals. Is that right? Nope. This goes over here. Okay, so these are all going to get popped up on dimensionals. These are going to be very three-dimensional cards. I want to do Lost Lagoon birds. So let me see if I can find, my Lost Lagoon. My sleeve is in the way. Sorry about that. We've got the air conditioner on because it's warm up in the house. It's not too bad today, but it's freezing in my craft room. So I've got my handy dandy cat sweatshirt on. Oh, and of course I don't see Lost Lagoon. I should have pulled it. Oh wait, is this it? Is this it? Yay, I found it. Seriously need to clean my craft room, you guys. All right, I have projects out from before I went on my trip. Okay, so we are going to stamp those birds right there. I always close my ink pads after I use them because with my luck, something will fall in the ink, in the ink and make a huge mess. Okay, so we're gonna pop this up. But let me look because the vellum, I wanna make sure that the vellum, I personally do not like the directions for the paper pumpkin kits. They did do them. Okay, they did use dimensionals. But they did it lower so that you don't see them. All right, so we're gonna add some of these guys down here. Okay. And then I like to use my U-Pick tool to just pull off those tabs. All right, now I am going to need to trim this because, like I said, I cut down my card front. Oops, and I need to move that dimensional over just a tad. So here is a great opportunity for me to show you the spatula on this fantastic tool, and that helps me pry that up. Oop. And we'll move it over. Okay, and that's going to get cut anyway, so don't worry about it. I didn't want to cover up these layers. See how it's covering up this part? I kind of feel like it's so wasteful, and yet the three-dimensional is such a great feature. Now they also gave you, which I don't think I told you, they gave you a roll of tear and tape. All right. Now you could use the tear and tape, or you could use your Stampin' Seal Plus, but that's what it's not a full roll, but there's enough on here to make your cards. I end up not using these and I give them away as little prizes. All right, so I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal. I just don't want to go too far over here on this side because it's going to get trimmed off. Okay, So let's make sure that we're on the edge. Whoa! I'm standing, so I'm not able to see things quite as well. So I gotta lean over and just make sure I don't get my head in the view of the camera. All right, we don't want to do too many dimensionals because you don't want your card to be super 3D, because then it won't fit in, oops, it won't fit in the, it'll just cost more if you're going to mail it. All right. Yeah, so my order should be coming pretty soon. Stacy, I see that you just got your box. All right. And then this goes on top. So we've got lots of layers and some dimension. Okay, let me hold that up so you guys can see it really close, and you can see how it's dimensional right there. Now I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to take my paper snips and I'm going to trim it. Hi, Lori. Happy Friday, friend. So I didn't waste that much of the dies, but I really feel like adding an extra layer and a mat makes such a huge difference. Now see how that's popping up? So we need to add another little dimensional there to hold it down. And I think I'm going to put a little bit of seal there. And then we'll take off the backing. Oopsie. And put that side down. Now let me check this side. Yeah, I feel like we need to put a little bit of seal there, and then let's get a dimensional over here on this side. Okay, so let's put that down. You don't see the seal, which is nice. Okay. But we don't want our card to fall apart. That would not be fun. We want it to look professional, right? Okay, so everything is adhered and we're good to go. So you got lots of layers there. Lori, have you gotten your paper pumpkin, or did you skip this kit? I love the layers. So I'm making some alternative designs. I'm not doing exactly the way that it is in the kit. Just changing it up a bit. Now there's a lot of open space at the top of this card, and so we could add a tree on this, which I can't remember if I cut it out already. I did on another one. So I'm thinking we might want to do a tree. I'm going to put it down in there. So we could do a tree, but we also need to do a sentiment. So let me cut out a tree die to add to this. Let me grab our bundle. So I'm highlighting this cutie. All right. And we're going to cut that out in Mossy Meadow, I believe, would work. So let me grab my scrap. I've got a little scrap here. This is my old Big Shot. So pardon. Oh, you skipped this one. Okay. Okay. Might need to grab another piece, but let's see if I can get this. Looks a little too small. Let me grab a bigger scrap. Bigger scrap. Okay. I do have my die cuts already cut out for the other cards, but the ones that I'm doing more like the original design, I didn't. I wanted to kind of see what I was going to do. You know me, I kind of design as I go. Alright. Tell you what, my body is still adjusting from jet lag. I was trying not to fall asleep in school today. I had to keep my eyeballs open. I think I need to run that through because I doubled it, so hold on. Although we could just... Let's see. We could run that through a embossing folder. I think that would be good. But let's cut out the trunk with the texture because I think that would be good. Let me pull this again. All right. Okay. Oops, wrong one. Okay. Bear with me, guys. Definitely have jet lag because I can't seem to get my act together here. All right. That or it's menopause brain, which is a very real thing. All right. Let's try this. Always go back through twice, especially on those intricate dies. So this is another use for this tool. I use it to help me get my dies out. I just push through on those little holes to get it loosened. I was saying at the beginning that I feel that everyone needs a really good tree stamp set or bundle because you can use them for so many things. All right. Trees and leaves are a great staple to have in your stamping stash. We always go for the flowers, but now we could have done this in a different color, but I'm not going to because I don't want to bring in another color that isn't on my card base. But you could have done it in early espresso or another brown color that we carry. But I'm going to go with the colors that are on here. And we're just going to add a little bit of liquid glue. If I had my act together, I would have used an adhesive sheet. That would make it a whole lot easier. But I never do things the easy way. Okay. So it's just adding some texture. I really like that. And it's okay if I cover up some of my birds. All right. Maybe we'll pop that up a little bit. I love the paper that we've been starting to carry that has landscapes in it. We've got a couple different ones. We have one that's autumn, and we have one that's every day. And this paper pumpkin kit reminds me of that paper. Just, oops. Now I want to go back here with those landscapes. Let's go right there. Okay, and then it's getting pretty, isn't it? Getting pretty. We need a sentiment. Now I'm working on Father's Day cards, so I think I'm just gonna say Happy Father's Day on this. Okie dokie. These are extra. Ooh. Need to clean all my blocks. Nope, not straight. We want that to be straight. We do not want a crazy line there. Now, let me grab one of those dies that they gave us for the sentiments. And if you run out of these because you're extending your kit like I am, then you just cut your white cardstock. No biggie. I'm going to use black so we can really see the sentiment pop. Nice even pressure. All right, and then we're just going to add that here. And I'm not going to pop this up because we've got layers already. Okay, and then what else can we add to this? So I pulled, these are the adhesive back textured dots. And I can't remember if they're last chance or still available, you guys, so I apologize. But they definitely have a masculine flair to them. So I'm going to use them. Let's see, I always do 3s. I think I need to move this one over a little bit. Okay, and there we go. That's the first card. I think it's beautiful. Okay, all right, next card. Dun dun dun. Ooh, I think I'm gonna have to sit down on back. All right, this one is gorgeous. I love this, but I have to admit I'm struggling with covering up I want the layers, but gosh, I feel like I'm wasting that beautiful panel right there, right? Okay, so we've got some layers. I cut this down. Like I said, I am extending my kit because I want to make more cards. So this is a piece of vellum, and they have us putting it over that. Now you don't have to do that, but that's where you're going to get those layers. Now you could use, if you don't want to waste this, what you could do is get a piece of, what's the new color called? Cloud Cover. Is that what it is? I'm looking. Yep, Cloud Cover cardstock. And you could use your blending brush and make hills, you know, using like a stencil from a piece. If you cut out some hills and use it as a stencil, you could brush it. So you can make your own hills and then add the layers to it. I'm not going to do that. Sorry. But that's another option if you want to not waste this beautiful piece. Part of me is half tempted to not waste it, but I don't think we have the time. So let's put this on. Okay. And we're going to trim, so don't worry. I know it's a little bit wider than this piece. Okay, so we're going to cut that. Okay, and then I'll add some, cannot get my fingernails to cooperate tonight. We'll add some of that seal here. Okay, now I'm going to add, oh, I think I just made a boo. I was supposed to put those on with dimensionals, but oh well. Again, I'm telling you, jet lag, menopause brain. Okay. We're going to pop this one up. Let me make sure I get that right on the edge. Okay. And we're going to trim this, and then we'll put dimensionals on the other side. A little over there on my vellum. Okay. Alright, so now we've got some mountains and hills, and they're dimensional. I'll hold that up so you can see the layers, which makes it very interesting on your card. Okay, you can see the layers there. Okay. Then we have these dies, they're trees, and we're going to pop that up with dimensionals. Now, you don't have to use these. If you have some tree dies from another set, you could cut some black trees out using a die and then extend your kit even more, because you only get 3 of these guys. But that's another option. If you want more trees, look in your stash of what you've got of trees, because we've had quite a few sets. And you could add some black dies that way. All right, let's add some black flying birds. Okay, there's bird. That's a lot of birds. And then I decided to put it on a piece of white. just to help it pop, give it some crispness. Might have to stand up again so I can see it. Nope, nope. Okay. And then we're going to put that on our card base. All right, and then there is this die that says thank you for being the person you are, and they have some bigger rectangles, but they're bigger, and it's like something like this, and I want mine to just be exactly framed, I guess is the term. So I just used a scrap and I cut it to fit, and I'll use those white dies for a sentiment. All right, now you don't want to, you've got this raised, you've got this raised, so just look around and be careful. Okay, so there is the next card. You could use a little bit of baker's twine on here, which I might add in. I don't know if you want to put an embellishment on here. Not sure. I have to decide. I haven't figured that out yet, but this is pretty cute, I think. All right, and I really like the layers. You guys can see the layers. Okay, next card. So what I did on these cards, these first three, I am keeping it almost to the original design, but adding in some extras. And then the next three cards, I went rogue. Okay. All right. We got a Misty Moonlight. Again, I cut this down, and we're going to pull in a Petal Pink matte. And then we're going to use our layers. Okay, so we've got this one, and I'm going to pop that up with dimensionals. Let me make sure, yep, this side. Okay. Then I'm going to trim it, and then I'll put the dimensionals on the other side. If you had more time than I did, you would have trimmed your die cuts before you started. But I was designing and getting ready to go live, and it just didn't happen. So however your brain works. Okay, and then we're going to add the dimensionals on this side. Again, I kind of feel like I'm wasting that really pretty landscape watercolor. So you could make your own watercolor with a template, a stencil, and different colored inks using blending brushes. And it would be quite pretty. Whoops, this is a vellum piece. Okay. Oh, I hope that, wait a minute. I'm going to have to move that because that is going to show. All right, let's go lower. Here we go. Okay. that one going to show? Slightly. Oopsie. Oopsie. Move it down a little bit more. Okay. Then we're just going to add some Stampin' Seal to this guy. Don't go all the way down because you are going to trim it. I don't need to keep putting dimensionals because we don't need this card to be like a bazillion dimensional layers. Alright, so I'm going to show you the layers if you guys can see that. Okay, that's pretty cool, huh? Alright, let's put some cute birds again. And I need some Misty Moonlight, which I don't know if I have here. We have to use our little Stampin' Spot. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to add another layer with dimensionals. We don't need it. Ooh, come on. But I do like adding that extra matte of color. I think it really makes a difference. All right, now we need a sentiment on this one. And I'm making all of these Father's Day cards. Do I want to do black or do I want to do blue? Black or blue? I think I'm going to do black. Okay. Alright, and I am going to do a baker's twine or a linen thread bow on this one. Oh, and this one is like weird, so you ever have trouble finding the end of your linen thread spool? I do. All the time. Okay. Use my inky fingers. And I just wrap some loops. And pinch it. And then we're gonna grab another piece. And I'm going to hold those loops down with my finger so they don't get in the way. And then I'm going to pull it. I used my mouth, sorry. Okay. It's so funny. I can hear my son. He's playing video games with a friend. He's upstairs, the friend's downstairs, and he's giggling like a girl. It's funny. It's that pure delight laugh. All right. Doesn't sound like a 19-year-old boy, young man. Sounds like a 10-year-old little boy goofing around. And all right, I think I might have made it too big. Yeah, I should maybe put this up a little bit, and I'll have a little more room for that bow. Okay, let's do it right. I'll put it right here. Okay, that looks better. And we need a little glue dot, a little tiny glue dot. Do I see any? Here's some glue dots. Oh, those are big glue dots. We don't want those. Those are too big. Where are the baby ones? Here they are. I always save the baby ones that come in our kits because they are great for linen thread bows. Okay. Press it down really good. Okay. Just gives it some texture, a little interest. I might trim those ends. I might not, don't know. And then we're going to add some of these guys in there. That one here. There. Okay. Ta-da! Okay, those are the first 3 cards. I think those came out pretty good. Now we're going to do the next 3. Okay. All right, the next 3. Move a couple things around. Get my mess out of the way. All right, you guys ready? You're like, come on, Jennifer, let's get rolling here. All right. This one. Okay, I ended up taking the card base. Let me show you. Here's one more left. Okay, so I took this card base, and what I did was I folded it, okay, and I went this way, and then I scored it in the middle, okay, to go like this. But I did trim it down a little bit because this is going to be on the back. I felt like it needed some white to make it pop. Okay. So what we're going to do, and I need to use my bone folder to burnish that a little better. Okay. I've been having pain right here. I don't know what I did. All right, and we're going to glue this onto our white mat. Okay, so it's going to go like that. And then we're going to put that on this is just a piece, it's a rectangle. It's not another card base. Okay. Now, the back of my card, this is going to be the back where you can do your writing, okay? I'm going to put some birds on it. Which I got a little sloppy with my ink. Okay. And let me look at the sentiments real quick. I want something kind of oh, I was going to use the, okay, yeah, let's do Father's Day in the inside, or the back, really. And then you have some room to write. Okay, you could add a nice tree die there if you had one. That would be nice. I didn't have anything current because my order isn't here yet, so the tree that I'm using on other cards doesn't match the type of tree on the front, so I didn't put a tree die. But if you had a pine evergreen die, that would be really pretty there. Now we're going to take this die, okay, and we're going to add it here with some dimension, but we want to be very careful where we put our dimensionals, and I want the edge of this die to be on the edge of my watercoloring. Okay, so I'm going to put dimensionals on this tree and down here. All right. I hope you're getting some ideas on how to use your kit and think outside the box. I hope I'm inspiring you. As I said, I do have 5 of these kits available for purchase if you did not get one and you're wishing you did. Just reach out to me. All right, now remember, we're going to line that up. Okay. All right. So it's going to go like that. And then we're going to add our die to the front. Again, I just cut a rectangle to surround that completely. Okay. All right. And I think we need some birds. So we're gonna stamp some birds on there. Okay. Oh, you skipped this one too, Gail? I love the outdoors. I love camping, so I was like super excited for this one. Okay, I'm wishing I had not put that there yet, but we'll go right here. Okay. All right, and then you could put a little linen thread bow here, which maybe I will do. I don't think you guys are going to want to miss the next kit, because the sneak peeks that I have seen, it is going to be beautiful. and it's going to coordinate with a suite that is going to be an online exclusive in June. So that will be really cool. Oh, Gail, you want me to save you one? Okay. I will pull one off my cash and carry table and put your name on it. It's a pretty one. I felt like the landscapes were going to be pretty. I definitely would tweak the designs a little bit. Add a little bit more into it. Wait till you see the next two cards. Okay, if I can get my fingers to work. All right. Thinking of putting it right there with another baby glue dot. You're welcome. You are welcome. I always order extras just because there's always somebody who didn't do it and then wishes they did. And they make such great gifts too. So I'm never worried. I know that I will always use them. Okay, I'm going to put that there. And I don't know that what if we did just like one embellishment? I don't know. What do you guys think? Maybe I put one here and then maybe down here. I think we'll do that. I definitely love that we've got some more masculine embellishments that can be used. Maybe I should have moved it over more. Let's move this one over. There we go. Okay. All right, so there's that card. And you can do your writing on the back. Okay? All right, now this one I had a lot of fun designing. So what I ended up doing was I cut out that tree again, but I did it in black. Okay? And what I also did was I cut it in half. No, did I cut it in half? I can't remember. I think I ended up, yeah, you cut it in half, and then I ran this through an embossing folder, okay, and then I cut them into little strips. So these strips, just so you know, they are 1 1/4 by 3 1/2, okay, 1 1/4 by 3 1/2. So then this would be 1 1/2 by 3 3/4. All right, so we're gonna mount these onto the layers. I love embossing folders because they really add something. I'm gonna add another lamp on because I feel like I'm in the dark a little bit. Let me turn on my other lamps on the table. Okay, helps a little bit more. Okay, we're gonna add this layer. I use this layout a lot where I do strips and then I layer the strips. And this particular card base looks more like a desert to me. But deserts can be very pretty. Now, here's the thing. We want to look at our hills and make sure that they match. I think that's right. Although, somehow my black, maybe this is, I don't know, I think it goes this way. because that part right there. All right, here's a piece of cloud cover. We're going to add that to our card base of Misty Moonlight. This is a new in color. Now we don't have an ink pad for this, but you can purchase an ink refill and an uninked Stampin' Spot and get the ink that way if you want. Okay? They did have problems with getting the ink to be to our level of standard. Okay? All right, now we're going to add these guys. I'm not going to do dimensionals on this because I am adding the die on top of it, the tree dies. Okay? I do think this one needs to go down a little lower, but my eyeballs always seem to be crooked. I can blame it on the bifocals. All right, so there's our desert. And then we're going to add this really pretty tree. So let me grab my glue again. And I really like the texture on it. So grab whatever embossing folder you love. It looks a little more masculine. Obviously we don't want flowers. But find something that's got geometric shapes, or just, you know, background texture. Okay, I'm just wiping the glue tip over this. All right. Don't rip. There we go. Nice thing about liquid glue is it does glue clear, dry clear. I'm going to hold that up so you guys can you guys see? The lighting is kind of bad right now with the black. Let me turn this lamp on. There, now you can see the texture. Okay. And we're going to put that here. Whoop. And let me get my Happy Father's Day stamped. All right. So we're going to put this here, and then we'll put our tree right there. So I'm going to pop the tree up. Okay. I have not been able to get to my paper pumpkins. I have so many paper pumpkins. That is something I am going to be working on as soon as I get my summer retreat taken care of. Then I'm going to start getting my paper pumpkins caught up, because there are several kits that I absolutely am very excited to work on. I just haven't had the time. I'm going to be doing a lot of stamping this summer. All right. Okay. And then let's put some of these. Oops. Maybe use a bigger one at the bottom. Okay, and we could do a linen thread bow if we wanted to. I don't know if we need to on that one. I'm going to think about it. But that is that card. I hope you like that one. I think that one's one of my favorites. Okay, this one. This one I ended up stamping. So there's the trunk. I'm going to show you how this works. But we don't want to stamp on an envelope. No, 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 we don't want to do that. Let me grab a piece of white. Okay. So I stamped my foliage first. Okay, let me show you. And I'm going to stamp it in Old Olive. It's almost like distinctive. Okay, let's go this way. Now you could leave it just like that. All right. I want to show you the options. We're going to do the trunk. See how this is open right there? That's for your branches. I really like this stamp set. Okay, so there's a tree, and you could leave it like that if you wanted to. But then there's another stamp that has the leaves for a little bit more detail. And that's what I ended up doing to this. Okay. So then I'm going to take some Mossy Meadow. I'm going to go with a darker green. All right. And then we're going to just lay it on top. It's not an exact match. And that's how you get that tree. Isn't that pretty? I really like it. Now, I thought the die would cut this out. And where'd the case go? Oh, here it is. So when I tried to die cut this particular piece out, let me show you. Where is it? Is it in here? Yeah. Okay. So this piece, it doesn't quite match with, now maybe I guess it does. I probably needed to move my foliage part down lower so I can get it to line up with the roots. So maybe what you might want to do is cut your piece first, do your tree trunk, and then stamp the background, and then go in again, because if I cut this out, I'm going to have this piece of white here that didn't get leaves, and it's not going to look right. So I haven't perfected that part yet. I ended up just fussy cutting mine. But I'm going to play with the die a little bit more to see, because I think it's supposed to cut it out. All right, what I ended up doing was I, again, took the card base and I cut it in half. All right, so that's what it looks like. There's one that's got like a sunburst. I went with this side. And I should have done my birds. I should have stamped birds on here. I didn't. But I ran it through an embossing folder. Once you put an embossing folder, you're not going to want to stamp. It's not going to, I don't think it's going to work as well. Okay, so this one won't get birds. But we could do the birds on the inside. Oop. I just tore that. Slow down. There we go. All right, and this is Lost Lagoon. I love this one. It looks like I've watercolored. Anytime that it makes me look like I am a fabulous artist, I love that. Okay. And we're going to put that on here. Now we could pop it up with some dimensionals, which that'll add some interest. So I think I'll do that. Grab a couple bigger pieces. So I'm going to actually be able to make a lot of cards with this kit by cutting the card bases in half. That's exciting. I'm going to go ahead and go one more right there. Okay. All right, got those all off. Center that on my card base. And then we're going to add our tree, and I'm going to pop that up. Okay. I like it when I use my U-Pick tool because then I don't have all of those pieces everywhere. So I'm gonna go like that, I think. All right, and then we're gonna stamp. But we don't want to use Misty Moonlight now, so let me close that, and I think we'll go with Mossy Meadow. Or you could do black. Had a problem with the stamp and seal on embossed paper with tearing. Yeah, it just excuse me. My allergies have been acting up. Excuse me. It did it on me as well. We just have to go slower. When we go fast, it tends to do that. I think I'll go up. So just go a little bit slower with your roller, and I think it's the angle also. All right. I'm filling up that space. Normally I would have those birds right there, but I forgot to do it. So we're going to fill that space up, and then I'm going to add in these guys. I'm going to have to get some more of these because I think they're great for masculine cards. Let me go this way. Well, but I might do a bow there, so let me do my bow first, and then I can figure out where to put those. Let's do the bow. All right. get my fingers and my brain to work together. All right. Okay. My fingers are so inky tonight. That was messy. I usually will double knot my bows when I'm using the linen thread just because I don't want it to come undone. Feeling like I should have put my tree down a little bit lower. I'm going to be brave and see if I can do it. A little bit of card surgery here. Alright, not too bad. There we go. Oops, I got an embellishment. Don't want to lose it. Alright, let's grab a glue dot. And put that right there. Nope, don't like it. Gonna go in the other corner, possibly. Stacy's probably saying, no, Bo. Nope, I don't like it there. I guess we're just gonna go there. I feel like it needs something there, but not super excited about this one. It's not working with me like I want it to. All right, let's see where we're going to put these guys. We'll put two over here. And then we'll put one over here. Okay. I might end up taking the bow off. Not sure. Okay, that is what I've got for you ladies tonight. Let me move these up, so you can see all the pretties. There we go. I got 6 cards done. You like the ribbon and twine that gets placed under the sentiment, like under it that way, right, like right there. All right, I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. Whew. Don't you like the trees though? I think the trees really work with this kit. It doesn't have to be pine trees. All right, so that was 6 cards and I am not even halfway done. I've got a lot of product that I can still work with to make even more cards. So, oh, over on the edges. Yeah. I hope this has inspired you. And the stamp set, it's actually a bundle. You're going to want the dies that go with it. And it's an online exclusive. It is, where did it go? Where did it go? I just had it. Sometimes I feel like I end up blind. Oh, it's in my paper pumpkin box. It's called Twisted in Time. Twisted in Time. And it has dies. So you'll want to get the bundle because I think the dies, the tree dies, are really cool. Okay? All right, friends, I hope you have a great Memorial Day weekend. What are your plans? Tomorrow, I am staying home to work on my, I am speaking at a ladies' retreat at our church, and so I am going to work on my message tomorrow. So that's my plan tomorrow. I'll probably finish unpacking a little bit and doing some more laundry and working on my message. And then Sunday, obviously going to church, and then afterwards we're going to do a barbecue. We're going to have a friend over and relax and barbecue. And then Monday, friend and Mike and I are going to go up to the foothills and do some antique shopping, hit some of the thrift stores up in the area, go and have lunch, just to have a little break and get out of the house. So that's my Memorial Day weekend. All right, I hope you guys have a great 3-day weekend. We're going to hang our flag out tomorrow. And I always decorate. I start my patriotic decorations at Memorial Day weekend, and then I keep them up through 4th of July. So, all right, ladies, I hope you have a fabulous weekend. Get some crafting done or some relaxing done. And I will hopefully see you soon, okay? Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.